I have beaten Marvel Zombies on Nightmare 4. I've beaten all the difficulties, and I want to share tips with you on how to do it. Disclaimer, this is not for people who run stacks or people who run comps or anything like that, because you know there's that group. It's easy. All you gotta do is use these people and build like this and play like this. No, this video is for randoms. People who do not stack, people who do not have comps, people who do not talk on mic with their friends or their family or whatever. If you are playing with random players and you are struggling, especially on Nightmare 4, this video is for you. I mean, to be fair, even if you do stack, this video could still probably help you out. Also, stay tuned, because at the end of the video, I'm gonna have a tier list of the characters that I feel are the best, especially in Nightmare mode, if that's something that you're trying to beat. The lower difficulty you are, the less it really matters, but if you really want to try to beat Nightmare 4, this tier list is going to be great for you. Tip number 1. You want to make sure that you are rushing your core build. Now, the lower difficulty you are, the less it matters. Experiment, have fun. But if you are someone who's trying to reach Nightmare, and then especially Nightmare 4, you want to practice on reaching your core build as soon as possible. If you didn't notice, each character has a blue side and a red side. And within those two, you're going to have specific cards that will alter how your character plays. As an example, for Thor, the thing that I need on Nightmare as soon as possible are going to be his headshot mechanic when he's using lightning and the machine gun rapid fire when he's using lightning. If I do not have both of those, I'm going to be substantially weaker. So you need to make sure that you are rolling to get your core. You don't need to max it, but you need at least 1 point in it if you can help it as soon as the round starts. Now, I know some of you guys might be like, well, Poppin, what's my core? I don't know my core. It's very easy. Each specific build, the blue or red, it's gonna have a way that alters your gameplay. So if you're playing the Punisher, you're gonna get automatic headshots and then they're gonna start dispersing. If you're playing Magic, you're gonna be spinning around a lot. Like, it's very obvious. So I'm not gonna make a guide on it, but pretty much you need to make sure that you get those as soon as possible. Moving on to tip number 2, tier rush. So each card, whether it's blue or red, will have specific tiers that you reach for continuously building the same card. It goes from 20 to 60 to 120. Each milestone, your character will get a specific boost to how they play. This is very important to reach. If you are playing on Nightmare 4, you need to have this completed by wave 5, by the time you hit Namor. If you don't, I mean, sometimes it happens, but you need to have it completed. Now, I'm not saying ignore everything else and just put all your points into those cards, but I do want you to prioritize them as much as possible. That being said, if you run into something that's gold, go ahead and grab it. If you think you're gonna need health later, or you're gonna need damage, or you're gonna need something else and it's gold, just go ahead and pick that up right then and there. It is very good. But when it comes to prioritizing your tier, it doesn't matter if you get it in gold, if you get it in gray, does not matter. Grab it as much as possible to reach that cap. Once you reach that cap, you're good to go. Even after you reach that cap, do not sleep on gold cards. If there's a specific stat that you want to improve, but it's not something that you really need right now, getting it as gold is a great way to kind of boost it without prioritizing it. That way it's kind of offsetting as you continue to level up your character. Do not sleep on golds. So just to recap, rush your tier, have it by wave 5 if you're playing on Nightmare 4. And you also want to make sure that you're not sleeping on gold cards. Gold cards are great, especially if you're trying to build a stat that you don't necessarily want to prioritize right away. Moving on to tip number 3, build what you need. So many places I see in Reddit posts and Marvel Rivals Discord, just everywhere. Build red and you'll be able to do this. Build lifesteal, permanently build this, permanently build that. I'm going to tell you right now, the lower difficulty you are, the more OP that feels. When you get to Nightmare 4, that goes out the window. You need to build what you need. It's similar to playing ranked. Lower ranked players will do things that look and seem OP, but as you start playing with people that are more experienced, it just doesn't work anymore. That is how it works with Nightmare 4. You can't just build damage. You can't just build one thing. You need to build what you need. If you need more wave clear, build wave clear. If you need more resistance, build resistance. If you need more damage, build damage. That goes for every single stat that you have. You don't just want to mindlessly put all your points in one area because you're going to get obliterated and you're not going to make it that far. And you guys, if you're truly clueless on builds, don't worry. You can look at the left side of the screen whenever you hover over a card, and it's going to give you a little brief description on what you're doing. So if you need more damage, it'll say damage. If it says health, health. So if you really don't know what to build, you can at least simplify it that way and be able to build properly from there. Tip number 4, learn to survive. So this is something that a lot of players are missing when they start playing on lower difficulties. Like as an example, Blade. People are like, oh, Blade is so OP because you just sit there and you never die. You just like, no. That works until Nightmare 4, okay? So just as I said with the lifesteal thing, or just as I said with whatever you're building, permanent red or permanent blue or whatever, you can't just sit there and just tank. You're not supposed to. If you guys have ever played Swarm by Riot Games or Vampire Survivors or just any other roguelike game that has a whole bunch of mobs coming at you, you can't just sit there. Even if you're giga strong, there are specific mobs that you are gonna have to move around for. This is how this game works. You can't sit in one spot. You need to learn to survive. Where am I gonna go if I get cornered? Where am I gonna go if I do this? Where am I gonna go do that if I do that? In lower ranks, in lower difficulty levels, it seems like you could just sit there and do whatever, but that's not gonna happen once you get to Nightmare 4. So you need to learn how to move around. You need to learn how to survive. The goal of the game is not to get so strong you can just sit there and tank. It's not gonna happen. Use the environment to help you out. Use walls to block grenades and to block poisons, because you can do that. If you get out their line of sight, they won't be able to throw them at you. Use cars or like little pillars to circle them so that they can't hit you and things like that. Each mob is a little bit weak to something, so if you can maneuver in a way to capitalize on their weakness, you'll go a long way when it comes to that mode. Tip number 5, target priority. So a lot of the times, especially because I'm playing with randoms all the time, people don't really know who to target and why. You'll see a lot of people you'll see a lot of people fighting the wrong things. So you want to target what specifically is the most dangerous at the time. And this goes for, it's funny because even in Marvel Rivals, when I teach you guys how to play that, there's target priority there too. Target priority is pretty much in almost every single game that you play if it has to do with attacking. So when it comes to this game, your target priority can kind of shift based off how it's played. So if you have something that's like a lightning hit that will hit multiple enemies at once, if you focus the big police guys, it's gonna damage the little guys. So why are you focusing little guys? Focus the big police guys. Vice versa, if you notice a wave of exploding zombies are coming at you, you're gonna need to take care of those first, because if they get too close, they're gonna one-shot your entire team. You need to think about what is the most dangerous at the time, and is it gonna wipe you and your team? If it's going to wipe your team, you need to make sure you're getting that off the map as soon as possible, if possible. Also, a little extra to that, try to focus the same thing that you're focusing. Now, when you're playing with randoms, unless you're on comms, you might not really be coordinated like that. But if you notice your team is focusing on one specific mob, like a police character, just hit that too. 2 people shooting one thing is better than 1 person shooting one thing. So kind of alter your gameplay in that. You'll be a great partner for your team, and they won't even notice that you're doing it, but it goes a long way. Now, before we hop into that tier list, I want to add a bonus tip. Bonus tip, go to the shop and buy yourself some revives. The game literally gives you free revives every day. On top of that, they give you free blue tokens. So you should just, even if you want to just spend one, just spend 100 and just buy once. 10 revives go a long way. If you are really serious about being Nightmare 4, you're gonna need revives. Now, you need to learn when to use them though. Do not mindlessly revive. If you feel like you're not gonna be able to complete the run, I myself have gotten to Scarlet Witch and then of course beaten her. I've gotten to that final one and I can tell right away if this party is gonna make it that far or not. If they are not, I'm not gonna waste revives. If they have a chance, then I will. That is gonna be something you're gonna learn. And so you're not gonna be wasting your revives on a group that you know aren't gonna be successful. Again, this video is more for randoms rather than if you have a full squad and something like that. So you are gonna need revives. You're not getting through Nightmare 4 without revives, period. People make mistakes. We could all get KO'd randomly on accident and then we lose. No. So buy yourself a revive. It's in the shop. So here is my tier list. I have them numbered 1 through 5. I didn't want to make an A, B, C, D tier list. It's just kind of weird. If there's 5 characters, I make just 5 spots. It just makes sense to me. 2 things. This tier list is under the assumption you know how to play the character decently. Some of these characters won't perform well unless you actually know how to play the character. So I'm just gonna take everything out the equation and say you understand how to play the character to a decent level. The other thing is that this tier list is for Nightmare 4. What works in low difficulties are not going to work in high difficulties, and so this tier list is based off Nightmare 4. Moving on to number 1, we have Blade. Blade is phenomenal, and it's really he's only as good as the player is. The one thing that makes Blade great is the ability to have a very strong early game. He does not take that long to ramp up. You give him a little bit of a something, and the character is good to go. That's one of the great things about Blade. He just starts off strong. I will say though, that the weakness that this character has is towards later into the game. He's not extremely tanky, so you will need to learn how to build properly in order to get around whatever situations that you may come across. On top of that, if he's forced to stop attacking, he ends up in a really bad spot. Again, this is why you need to make sure that you're building properly. Moving on to number 2, we're gonna have Magic. So Magic is great. She takes a little bit longer to ramp up, which is why I put her below Blade. But when it comes to playing Magic, I think her blue side is better than her red side, but she can play both if she wants to. The spin side is just better because as the game progresses, you don't really have, you'll need to build a specific way in order to sustain sometimes. Or you're gonna need to play like a god. I personally like the red side of Magic, but if you are someone who doesn't want to struggle and you're someone who doesn't want to have to try to outplay situations, the blue side is perfect. Room-wide AoE, you don't need to aim, you get a free teleport, your cooldowns are very low. Like she's great. She's just not as good as Blade in terms of damage, but in terms of survivability, she's up there with him. But the downside, like I said, is she takes a little bit longer to get going, but once she's going, she's gone. Number 3, we have Thor. So Thor is under Magic and Blade for really one specific reason, because his lightning damage is phenomenal, but he can't really build red even if he wanted to. It's just buns. It's cool, it's fun, but it's buns compared to his blue. And a lot of what he does is clunky. He's very slow, he's very clunky, and if you make any mistake, he's probably gonna get tapped. You will be able to eventually overcome this by building correctly, but even then, you sometimes will end up in a weird spot. If you ult, you will land in a crappy situation, and it's a problem. So he is pretty good. I like playing him. He's one of my main characters, but he's not as good as the other two. He's just a little bit too slow and clunky, and he doesn't really have those high damage numbers that they have when they get going. Next, we have the Punisher. When it comes to the Punisher, he's number 4 because he's not really that great in Nightmare 4. He seems really strong in the lower difficulties, but again, this is a Nightmare 4 tier list. The Punisher, he just doesn't have a lot of ways to escape, and he takes way too long to get going. Like, way too long. He needs a buff. I hope they start throwing in little mini patches to maybe make some of these people a little bit stronger, but he takes too long to get going. And even if he does get going, he doesn't have a lot of repositioning tools. He has a zip line. After that's taken out, if it's taunting enemies, or if you're just, zip lining around, after you're done, you're cooked. It's very, you have to be an insane Punisher player in order for that to work. And, it's not worth it. It's not worth it unless you really love him. I just wouldn't recommend it. And then last we have Jeff. For the same reason, the only thing different from Jeff to the Punisher is that the Punisher has more abilities that he can use. But let's be honest, when it comes to Jeff and Punisher, they can only really use like one ability out of their kit, right? Jeff can really only dive, and he can do other stuff. Like, let's be real, they're kind of lackluster. So the dive is really good. And then with the Punisher, he can't use his ultimate. He can't really, just like Jeff, they can't use their ultimate or they're gonna get run through. The mob just knows how to focus you when you ult for some reason. And then they don't have really just that. They don't have damage numbers. They're just very lackluster. I can go on and on with why, but I really hope they get some buffs, especially Jeff. I don't really know what he's doing. You can't even play him in Nightmare. He's a gimmick. He's always a gimmick. I swear. I don't even think they want him to be good anyway. But this is my tier list for Nightmare 4. As I said before, other difficulties don't matter. You can play whatever you want, but the lower tier you are, the more work you need to do to make them work. You have to be gods at Jeff, because I've seen it happen. I've seen some really good Jeff players, very rare, but you got to be a god at Jeff. You got to be a god at the Punisher. You got to be a god at Thor. Blade and Magic, you don't really have to be a god at necessarily, but you're still gonna have to be skilled mechanically. Nightmare 4 isn't for the faint of heart. It's difficult for a reason. But hold on, I ain't done. If you guys are interested in joining the Gauntlet, yes, the Gauntlet, I'm going to be streaming today, hosting an event. There's going to be some more rules, but I'm not going to explain them in this video. I'll explain on the stream. But if you guys think you have what it takes to clear Nightmare 4 with me, come on by, come join the stream. If you can do it, you're going to get a special Discord role that nobody else has, and you will be at the top of my Discord. So let's see if you got what it takes. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, you know what I always say. If you guys are doing what? Up and often. Loft.